Hello viewers, it is I, Pricey from Pricey's Cinematic Critique, and a year ago today I started my film reviewing series, so this is my first anniversary, you could say. And to celebrate, it's maybe a bit dull, but I've got a series of questions. I've been asked 15 questions which I will answer in this review, all from many different people. So no time to waste, let's just kick off. This first question comes from Rob, who is part of the three-man group R, B and D Reviews on YouTube. His first question is, with so many review channels out there, how easy or difficult has it been to stand out? I have to say it has been quite difficult. A bit of a shaky start, because I got some very high views from my Die Hard review, Batman review, Scooby-Doo review, sort of trailed off, perked up with Star Trek, in which The Wrath of Khan's my highest viewed video, with 301 plus views. I only know that because it hasn't changed. It only changes with popularity and it's not been viewed that much, so I don't know. And my next question from Rob is, what movie do you think is underrated? That'll have to be Star Trek Nemesis. It often gets a lot of hate for being a terrible film to end the Star Trek films before it was rebooted with J.J. Abrams, but I like it. It's got everything. It's got action, it's just got action, and it provides a brilliant end to everyone in the Next Generation cast. My next question comes from my best friend Priya, who asks, what is your fave sci-fi film? And to that I have three. Star Trek Into Darkness, brilliant all round, action terrific, Benedict Cumberbatch terrific, special effects outstanding. There's one. Second one, Terminator 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger rocks in this, solid special effects for its time. And finally, Inception. Again, terrific special effects, terrific visuals, a fantastic script from Christopher Nolan, who is just a god in the filmmaking industry. My next question comes from a friend of mine, Tracy, who doesn't have a film review series, but is just on Facebook, and she asks, what is my worst best film? With regards to that, I'm going to have to say my worst film would probably have to be Star Trek 3 outright. It's god awful, predictable. Leonard Nimoy was directing this and he just didn't really get much into it. The acting was good, but that was about it. My best film, I'm going to refer you to Inception, because I said in my Inception review I didn't have a particular favourite, but then I realised that Inception was my absolute firm first favourite, because it's got everything you need. My next question comes from William Bond Nunn, who has his review series on YouTube. I shall put links to film review series in the drop down box. And he asks, what is my favourite or biggest guilty pleasure? To that I would have to say Rocky IV. I know it's regarded as the best in the series, but it's somewhat weird and very odd. Got some very solid music, and of course the plot's a bit repetitive because it's all just Sylvester Stallone boxing. But I love this film because it's energetic, it's exciting, and it's got one of the best boxing sequences in cinema. My next one comes from Don from Manchester, another friend of mine on Facebook, and he asks my favourite genre of film. Easy, sci-fi, because I like all the mystery, the intent, the unusuality, the action, everything. And another question from Don, do you like films from the 40s, 50s and 60s? The 40s I can't speak for, but the 50s and 60s I can, because from the 50s I have seen Bridge on the River Kwai, and for the long war film that it is, and I'm not really that big a fan of war films, it was thoroughly entertaining, and I have to say thoroughly deserving of the Academy Awards it got for its time. 60s wise, I have seen two, Dr. Strangelove and The Italian Job, because I believe The Italian Job was 1969, but anyhow, both very firm comedy films. Michael Caine legendary for his "You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off!" The quote that immortalised him, frankly. Another question from Don. Do I like foreign films? Yes, I do. I've not seen that many. I've seen Battle Royale, The Raid and Dan Boot, but all very good in their own different ways. Battle Royale very violent, a very violent version of the Hunger Games, though it came out 8 years before the books. The Raid, almost like Die Hard and Apartment Block, and of course I love Die Hard and anything that's related to Die Hard spoofs. And Das Boot, the longest film I've seen at just over 200 minutes. Fun, entertaining, and just fun and entertaining. And I don't mind the film being in German, I can cope with that. The English subtitles can obviously provide. My next question, another one from Tracy. Have I done film marathons? And with regards to that, yes I have. All with my bestie Priya. I have done the Batman trilogy, as in the Christopher Nolan, the Iron Man trilogy with Robert Downey Jr., and if it counts as a marathon, the 4 films, because we saw them both in a sort of midnight screening at the cinema. Another question from Don. What's my opinion on sequels? Some are good, some are terrible. I mean, obviously to Search for Spock's my least favourite film of all time, and obviously a sequel to The Wrath of Khan, but if it wasn't for that, then the Star Trek films just wouldn't have continued. The Toy Story trilogy is a fantastic example of carrying on, sequels working. Both sequels work absolutely terrifically, and the same can go for Lord of the Rings. Another question from Don. Have I ever stopped watching a film partway through? Yes, I have. The 2009 film Rent. I think my mum summed it up when she said she'd rather watch Die Hard, which is more Christmassy related than Rent. Rent is set around Christmas, but mum would rather watch Die Hard, and she doesn't really like action films, or Bruce Willis. But yes, Rent is a film that my sister made me watch over Christmas, but I demanded we stop partway through because I just could not get into it, I couldn't stand it. And the final question from Don. Do I have faith films that you can watch over and over and never get bored of? I do. Inception, Die Hard, Dark Knight Rises, Air Force One, Die Hard 4, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek Wrath of Khan, the list goes on and on and on. I couldn't possibly list them all. Final 3 questions, and they are from my friend Lewis, who is on Twitter. I will give a link in the drop down box. What was the first film you remember watching? Pokemon, the first movie. Good when I saw it, a bit meh today, but that was the first film I saw and I thoroughly enjoyed it at the time. Another question from Lewis. Why did you decide to become a film critic? That's an interesting question. I chose to become a film critic because I wanted to get my opinion out there on certain films. I may like films people can't stand. People may like films I can't stand. I just wanted to get my opinion out there. And you may think that I just do positive reviews over and over and over, but I don't. I have given negative reviews to Star Trek 3. I've given negative reviews to the Star Wars prequels, and I also dislike Rent and The Lovely Bones. And anything that was like scary movie, well not scary movie, disaster movie, date movie, starving games, all terrible. My final question from Lewis. Have you shared them on YouTube in a chance you'll become famous? Not at all. I simply came on YouTube to become a critic because I like films. I love films. I have about 157 DVDs and Blu-rays and 47 box sets. That's how big a film buff I am. I love viewing them, I love giving my opinion, and sometimes I like debating with my parents and my family about how some films are terrible in their view and how I don't think they're terrible. My mum thinks Armageddon could have been the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes and the rest cut out. Same for Saving Private Ryan. But I disagree. Saving Private Ryan and Armageddon are both very good films in their own way. So there we go. Those are the 15 questions answered. For the rest of this month, as in I celebrate my first year on YouTube as a film critic, I'll be reviewing films that people request on Netflix. So make your suggestions in the comments, make them on YouTube, make them on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. I want to know what you want me to review for the next 3 weeks. See you folks!